Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. We are having an Exportia LAB for the month of June, which is great news. We are going to start sharply in 1 minute at 3 p.m. And yeah, welcome. Make yourself comfortable, grab a coffee, a tea, and prepare to have a great session on European distribution. We're going to start in 1 minute. We're almost ready to start. Okay, let's go. It's time to start this June session on how to generate more revenue from your European distribution channels. So distribution for, businesses that don't have a presence in the European market, or even for businesses that have a sales team based in Europe. Having a network of distributors and channel partners is a very powerful way to really boost your sales, reach to more clients, demultiply your reach, and it's a very good way to scale. So that's what we are going to focus on at Exportia in my business. We have successfully deployed network of distributors and channel partners across Europe. We've managed from year to year, sometimes we've managed up to 100 partners. So we're very familiar with that model of entry into the European market. And I'm Christelle Damiens, I'm your host, and I founded the business Exportia in 2006. We now have 2 offices. And we've worked with about 100 plus non-EU companies in Europe, and we are a small team of 10 sales managers, lead generators, project manager. We speak 9 languages among ourselves. We specialize in highly technical sectors, whether they are in the green tech sector, med tech, health tech, e-health, life science, or mobile, digital, SaaS platform, as well as AI. And we work as well in manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, electronics, cybersecurity, and safety. So we have a track record in setting up, in building and scaling businesses in the European market to multi-million. And I also write books on the topic of exporting to Europe. The last one is a collection of export stories in the European market, coming from companies that are non-European, so American, Japanese, Australian, and Indian, and that's about their story coming into the European market. Okay, so why are we doing this Exportia Lab on this topic? So establishing a European network of channel partners or distributors is not a set and forget exercise. And that's often the mistake that businesses make. They set up the distribution and then they wait until it starts to generate revenue, and then they let it kind of happen. It's often the recipe for failure to just have a set and forget distribution network. And so the reality is that those distributors are running their own business. They have competing priorities. They might be even distributing competing products to yours. And so you really need to keep your eyes on them and support them to make that business relationship work successfully over the long run. At Exportia, we love our processes, and we have a 5-step process for setting up distribution in Europe. So we have a profile stage, a selection stage, and an engagement stage, during which you negotiate your trade and conditions with the distributor. you may have a distribution agreement. And then what we're going to talk about today is that part of generating revenue from your distributor is the activation and the management part. So these are the two things we are going to talk about today. Okay, the journey ahead, we're going to cover 10 points in 2 parts. And so part 1, activation, we're going to talk about training, about champions, sales tools, leads, and sales agents. Part 2, we're going to talk about priorities, yearly plan, quarterly reviews, yearly reviews, and if does your distribution needs to change. That's what we are going to discuss. So let's start on part 1, which is the activation side of things. And in that part 1, we're going to talk about training sales teams. So as part of your training, and most of our audience and of our community at Exportia and our clients, we have technical products. So whatever the sector is. And so when you train distributor reps, I mean, if you don't do it, you definitely have to do it. Most of our companies in our network they do train their sales reps. So that would be step number 1, really, of any activation or when you set up a distributor. And so you have a part which is, product training. Product training, in my experience with our team, it's really better done in the language of of this given sales team. So I know it's not always possible. If you cannot provide it, then you have some options like providing the collateral, the deck that you're presenting in the local language, or having someone from your distributor help you to present is also a way to do it. But you really have to put yourself into the shoes of your distributor reps. If they don't practice English on a daily basis, they're not going to absorb all your arguments and product features during that session if you don't speak their language. It's really important. You make it easy for them to absorb that information. The other part to the training is not only the product training, but also the sales training. What's important for them is, your new products for them or a new solution, they need to be very comfortable to pick up the phone, call their customer, and present your product, but also they need to know where to go. Which customer should they first and foremost focus on? So you need to show them how to get the sale. You need to share with them your secret recipe of a successful sale and a successful sales process. Where are the low-hanging fruit? Are there any specific industry segment, persons that particularly would benefit from using your product? So it's really important to have that part of the sales training. Second recipe for success when you set up a distribution is detecting your champions. So within your sales team, as you organize that product training, and by the way, there was on the photo before, there was one of our sales reps doing a training for a distributor in Germany. So we actually do that. So detect your champions. So within that room, when you do your distributor training or your partner training, you need to detect your champion. So your champion is going to be the first person in the room who's going to ask questions, be interested, who's trying to figure out, okay, within my portfolio of clients, where can I fit this product? Where could that product go? And so once that champion is often the early adopter, they're very important to you, because you may have negotiated a contract with the management at management level with a distributor, but as long you really need the sales team below to sell, because that's what's going to make everything successful. So your champion will be the first one to sell within your distributor or your partner. And so they will drive the sales. They will show the example that it is. They will demonstrate to their colleagues and the rest of the sales team of your distributor that this is possible to sell. So you need to focus on them, support them big time, give them what they need, and do, for example, visits with them, because they're going to take you to their customers if they're motivated to sell your product. Okay. What's important, if you are targeting specific accounts, is to find within the room who is the sales rep, or even before the training, I would say, who is the sales rep who is in charge with the account you're targeting, because they're going to be a very good ally for you. So it's really good to know which rep is in charge with which account or with which industry, because that's really how you're going to be able to support them individually. So that's quite important. And that's a nice field photo into a sewer, but basically the goal is you do the product training, the sales training, then with the distributor team, you do that, let's say, in a breakfast in the morning, afternoon you go, and for the coming days, you do visits with the sales team, sales visits, to start to implement and show them how to demonstrate the product, but also how to sell and generate interest. Okay, so tandem visits are really pay off. They really show the support to the distributor. The other thing is to give them the tools they need, the sales tool they need to sell. So a sales kit can be as simple as that, composed of a brochure, a sample, a deck, a case study to start with. In some technical areas, you need a data sheet, you'll need, to have some instructions. Don't always have it in the initial sales process, but yeah, they need to have their sales kit with them. Preferably, I've put some flags there in their language, because to be honest, European customers will be much more inclined to listen if what you present to them is in their language. If it's in English, if they don't really have a good level of English, they will just not really pay as much attention. So I would highly recommend you equip the distributor sales team with the collateral and what they need in terms of sales tool in their language. A video demo works really well. You can, especially in the IT sector, obviously, a video demo, it's very easy to translate the subtitles, very cheap and simple. And I highly recommend that sales tool as well to get them to engage with their customers, send them a short video and say, what do you think? Or show it to them during a meeting. All right, one of the strategic parts of activation of distribution channels is really to generate leads for them. This way you really show them that there is an interest in your product. Yes, customers are interested. It builds the value of that for you is also to build your interest in to build your understanding, in the market. By generating some leads for your distributor, you will also create contact with end users, which is very strategic and important for you to keep always a pulse on end users. You're showing to the distributor that you know your market, but also that there is a demand for your product. And that does really create a good level of engagement. So you need to start generating leads for them so that they generate leads for you. and then they will take you to their account. So it's a kind of an exchange. You see here we have one of our reps. She's on a distributor stand of from a customer of ours, and she was supporting the distributor to do demos and to talk to customers. So that's trade shows in Europe, you know, is a good way to generate leads still. And so when you work with your distributors, it's a great way to get them active and to show them what you can do. So you help them build their pipeline of leads and close deals. You help them to secure those first sales. And that's very critical at the beginning of the relationship to get that flow of business started. The other parts, once the business is a bit more started, the way to, when you start to have a flow of business with a distributor, a European distributor, in many European countries, and it will depend from country to country, the business model of sales agent, so having somebody visiting distribution in their region is quite a traditional model in Europe. It's very common in France, very common in Italy, Spain. I mean, in every country, but it depends on the industry we're talking about. In the IT sector for software, it'll be hard to find a sales agent, but in more traditional industrial products, you will find sales agent. And they are a great way to support distributors. They will, if you have a very good canvas of distributors and you're well established, the value of it is it will remind those distributors of your brand. It will remind them of your programs. It will remind them of your product. And they then develop very good relationship with the local sales reps at the regional level. And then they just boost your sales, and they're paid on commission only. So it's just an additional layer of support for the distributor. It works really well. Usually distributors can tell you, oh, I know that sales agent, they're really good. And that's a good way to try to identify them. But that's another topic, that's a whole Exportia LAB on itself. Okay, let's go to Part 2, management. So we're going to talk priorities, yearly plan, quarterly review, yearly review, and do we need to change or not? Okay. Knowing their priorities, your distributor priorities for the year is critical. And most importantly, you need to make sure that you are part of their priorities for the year. So they may have, you know, every year a distributor will define, okay, this year our priority is that range of product that we are going to push, and we're introducing a few brands or a few new products with those brands, or we are boosting this industry sector and we have that focus, or our goal is to conquer that account. We want to conquer, I don't know, buyer, or this is what. So you really need to know their priorities. And you need, with your solution, ideally, to help them build that, achieve that goal. And that's, you really need to be part of their priorities. Otherwise, they will focus on other things and on what they have to do. So it's really important you're aware, even if that year, you know, your product range is not the priority of distributors, particularly true for very large distributors that have very large range. It's okay, but at least you know it. You know it, and you act accordingly and you prepare accordingly. If you're not the priority of that distributor, you're going to have to work harder with another distributor. So that's important, number one. Number two, You establish a yearly sales and marketing program with them, a yearly sales target, of course. Right at the start, when you build your distribution, when you work with your distributor, it may not be easy to define a sales target, so don't be too bogged down with it. You can define a minimal target for the first year, and then you refine it as you grow. Or you can even for the first year not have a sales target and have it for the second year. You can tap into some of the distributor marketing programs. Large distributors, even smaller distributors, may have their own program. And whether it's composed of, okay, we have this campaign around sustainability this year that we want to improve. We want to add new products in that range. We want to reward our reps. So that's a good one for you to find out. How do they reward their rep on the sales? And can you be part of that? If they sell your products, is there any program so that the reps have a little bonus if they sell your product? And can you support that? So that's all of the things you can ask your distributor to see how you can fit in their program. And then based on their priorities, obviously on your priorities and your targets, and on their program, you can set some KPIs. So it can be adding new corporate accounts, expanding a footprint within an existing account. You can maybe you want to launch in a new industry. And so I recommend, for the way Europeans work, they often work from calendar year, from January until December. And so I would recommend you define the sales target and all the new objective for the year between October and December, a sales target, a marketing budget, and some KPIs, and also the discount level. So let's say, for a new distributor could look like this. Okay, a sales target of 500,000, marketing budget of 10K, although it's a bit generous. Discount level 30% on the list price if they reach that target, or for the first year. And then an extra discount maybe if they go beyond that. So that's some of the type of thing you can do. And you also define the KPIs along the activities. So 5 new corporate accounts, 3 new sites in 3 existing accounts, attending and participating in 1 user conference. So that can be some of the KPIs you set up. Then you run quarterly formal reviews on how this progresses. So we're supposed to have 125K per quarter. And so how we're going with the marketing budget, the marketing plan, how we're tracking with the new accounts, and how we're progressing on the 3 accounts that we want to expand footprint within. Okay, your quarterly review, you plan them. So at the start, between October and December, when you set up your plan, then you already schedule with your product manager, the product manager in charge of your range within the distributor, and any other management team, the review dates, and you log them in already. And then you conduct a yearly review of your terms and conditions. So you've set up the expectation for the year. So at the end of the year, so again, towards December, you want to let the team focus on the last quarter, what they've achieved, and you review. How did the partner, or did they perform? The target, is that reached? How did they perform on the KPIs? Should you, based on their results, should you change their discount level or not? Have they overperformed? Can they get some additional rebates because they deserve it, or because they've done a good job, or really is that a trend that they keep missing their target, and why it is? So, and then you need to notify them if you increase the prices. The price list needs to be issued 3 months before being shared with the distributor, with any client. So make sure by the first, if you have a new price list, you send it by the 1st of October. Okay, once you've done that, and you've done that for all your distribution network, you need to decide if I have, 2 distributors in Germany or in France or in Italy. Okay, how am I doing with those distributors? Am I covering my market well enough? Is one not performing? Should I add another one in another sector? So that's some of the things you need to think about. So should I add a distributor, or should I manage a distributor out? So that's some of the things where when you have set the objectives at the start of the year, and for a couple of years they don't perform, it just gives you the out. That's how you prepare also your out if they don't perform. So that's why it's really important to have a framework and a clear objectives and clear expectations from you that you can negotiate from. Okay, so we've talked about activation and management, and that's critical to generate review from existing distributors. The reality is that activation, the training, the working with champions, the sales tool, generating leads and using sales agent, that can be done on a continuous basis. That can be done always, okay? Because that keeps the network, the distribution network alive. Of course, the objective is that your distributor generates sales for you, and that's some of the ways for you to keep them active and engaged. Management, know their priorities, make sure you're part of them, establish yearly sales programs, run quarterly formal reviews, conduct yearly review on the TMCs, and then you can decide on the change. So I've got a challenge for you: conduct an honest review on your distribution network, what's working, what's not working, and have a think on some of the things we've just discussed, and see if you should plan a review with the distributor now. Would be a mid-year review. It'd be a good time to do that. Okay, just an example of what Marcus, from one of the interviewee from my 3rd book, what he says about channel partners and how crucial they are. The go-to-market channel, who you market with, your partner, is equally important as the product. So it's really an important feature of your success to work well with your channel partners or distributor partner. And so by activating, maintaining active, and managing your distributor, your European network of channel partners or distributors, your business will thrive and grow in Europe in the long run. So this is the team, some of the team and I, and we are happy to help. So reach out to us. And we'll have a new Exportia LAB on the 23rd of July. Feel free to tune in. If there's any topic that you'd like me to cover about business development in Europe, and I'll be very happy to jump in and talk about it. Okay, thank you for your time. Our time is up. And feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And I will see you in July. See you soon. Bye-bye.